to the first ever video presentation for the Trench Trophy Award, the 2021 Trench Trophy Award given to the best senior lineman in high school football throughout all of Western New York. My name is Sal Capaccio, guiding you through the presentation today, and let's just say hopefully the last video presentation as we see life get back to normal off the field and on the field as we go forward. We're going to tell you all about all the tremendous candidates and nominees for this year's award, and of course, it was the first ever spring football season throughout Western New York. We're going to get back to playing football in the fall, but we're not going to do that before we honor all of the great linemen. Whether it's an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, we're going to make those names shine right here today through the 2021 Trench Trophy Award. All right, let's bring in a couple of gentlemen who know all about the Trench Trophy, and they're going to have all of us learn more about it here today, and that is co-founder, Coach Carl Curris, and co-chairman, Ed Sierra. Before we talk to them about the Trench Trophy, I just want to say that the Trench Trophy is near and dear to my heart, and I'm honored and privileged to be able to do this every single year to help out Coach Curris because he was my coach, defensive coordinator back in the day, and I know I didn't hit for you very much, Coach, but I tried to roam the secondary for you as much as I could. But thank you very much for having me be a part of this. I'm very honored that you asked me. Thank you. All right, guys, so let's tell us a little bit about the award. And, Coach, you are the co-founder of the Trench Trophy. So what's it all about? How did it start, and how did we get here today?
Actually, there was three founders. We started off, I was a member of the Lancaster Elks. My brother-in-law was a big wig there. He was secretary. And Len Kuhn, who played for Walden and played for Michigan, Lenny says, why don't we have a lineman award? Why is there only, do we decorate the backs? And I said, man, maybe that's something the Elks would want to do. And I talked to Vic Rizzi, my brother-in-law, and Lenny was really interested, and we came up with the name Trench Trophy because the guys, we're looking at the guys in the trenches, and they tell you, it's really grown, and it's. I think the kids look forward to it. And I think these kids are well deserving of recognition. They're in there in the mud, in the dirt, and the dust, and they don't even have a ball with them half the time. And we'd go out to games and we notice them, and thus we've established a pretty good program.
We have 79 nominees for this year's award. That's a big undertaking, but every year it is. Ed, tell us a little bit about how all of that works. What goes into the mechanics of scouting the players, who the scouts are, and how all of that works every week?
Well, typically every year we start out with the same goal. We try to find one lineman from AA, B, Class B, C, D, and a Monsignor Martin. Originally, back then, we also had the Harvard Cup, but they've long since been defunct. So we start there. We have a committee of upwards of 40, 50 guys that they randomly volunteer to cover games. It might be their local school district, wherever they want to go. The guys come back with their reports. We sit down the following Sunday morning after Friday, Saturday games. We may look at maybe 10, 12, 15 guys that might be worthy of a nomination for that week. And we'll typically narrow it down to 6, 7.
And it's important to note, it is a senior award.
Yes, it's strictly seniors. The list just builds. So out of these original 15 in week 1, we'll nominate 6, 7, but we also have another 8 that we'll look at it again. So through the weeks, it just builds upon that.
And one thing I've noticed, Coach Curris, is the people who scout love high school football. I mean, the committee you have, they love this, and they love getting out there, and really, it's because you want to recognize these kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say enough about, I got a list of guys here. That's not even a full list because this year with people living in Florida and people on vacations and with the COVID, these guys are so dedicated. It's unbelievable.
And the reason we're doing this, we know that, is because it's hard to have the banquet during the current circumstances. So tell us all about the banquet that it normally takes place. I've been there for many years. It's tremendous. We go to the Elks, and we're up on the dais, and there's a lot of really great people there, and you can talk to about how this has really grown in the banquet portion of it.
No, we're talking close to 300 people every year in that main hall. We get exceptional speakers. We get guys like from Cleveland Hill and coaches in the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame, Jim McNally, Len Jankiewicz, and throughout the years we had
Don't forget the Destroyer.
Some Buffalo Bills have shown up. That's
Joe
right.
DeLaMalure and Reggie
Joe
McKenzie,
D,
Reuben Brown, and what we do is we give free tickets to the coaches of that person and his parents and himself, of course. and we set up our banquet hall so that all the winners, anybody that gets one of these things is a winner. But we do have one declared final winner. It really is. I think it's a quality banquet. And one of our sponsors from Frank's, he does a nice food for us, and also we have Jim McNally. He's been with us almost every year. He came and spoke, and he's been with us almost from the first banquet, I think. So
pretty amazing lineup. And Ed, just to show people that you guys aren't picking names out of a hat and you're doing the work, you've had some great winners over the years who've gone on to do tremendous things, college and even professional football.
Yeah, we have. I mean, there's John Urschel, who he went to Canisius and played for the Ravens. He's there, and then Ryan Hunter from Canisius as well. He's right now he has a Super Bowl ring.
That's right.
And he got with the Chiefs, and he played with the Chargers. And there have been other guys that have gone on to play college football. Jason Carlson, another one that he was at a D1 level. Some of our finalists, Doug Worthington, early
Ohio
on
State,
from.
That's right.
He went to Ohio State, and it's a lot of fun. We get some good quality people, and I laugh too. Way back when we recognized, it wasn't always a senior award, but we nominated anybody in those days. But there was a kid from Williamsville there, a Polish kid there. He was one of our nominees, Gronkowski, I think his name, something like that. But he wasn't good enough to make our finalists.
Before I get into fundraising and how people can help out, you mentioned the name Dick Gallagher. So I just want to say this is our first time together since the passing of Dick, obviously. And Dick Gallagher covered me in high school. He was taking pictures and talking to me at Cleveland Hill after we won games. And he had been around a long time. And you talk about someone who loved high school football and knew high school football. And, we don't want to bring a somber note, but we'd be remiss to not recognize maybe the greatest high school sports reporter we've ever seen in Western New York, Dick Gallagher.
Yeah, it wasn't only football. I mean, it wasn't only the...
Right.
He was just a great guy.
That's right.
He was at our banquet every year as well, and he supported us any way he could, and he'll be missed.
No doubt about it.
Very much so.
Okay, Coach, so what if people watching want to get involved? How can they help out the Trench Trophy and say, hey, we want this thing to grow and be even better?
Hey, it's on my notes.
There you go. We got it.
Anybody out there that interested in scouting, you like football enough, it's in your blood, like it's in ours, check our website, www.trenchtrophy.com. We have you can give us your name, your information, your background, and so forth. We've had some scouts that just played high school football, and they come out, and I tell you, it's a big difference watching linemen exclusively.
Yeah.
Everybody's used to watching the ball. And we're not always looking for the biggest, tallest kid.
No.
I mean, you might get a 170-pound guard that they're giving us their all the whole time, and they're respected by their teammates. I mean, all these part of the criteria that we look at. Is he a leader?
Yeah, leadership.
What about fundraising? If you guys want to, raise some money to help out here, because obviously these are volunteer positions, people who scout, and you obviously have to raise some money to help this.
Yeah, what we normally do, Sal, is we have at the banquet, we have table ads and ads, and we charge enough to make some money on it for each table, and a lot of times a businessman will come and they'll have 8 tickets and they'll have 8 friends come and what we also do is usually our top ad providers will present the individual awards. And it's some of these guys are, we take a picture of them, they got it in their offices and they got it at the golf course, and it's something that these businesses in the past we have a whole list of people that have been with us for right from the beginning.
Amazing. You guys have done a great job. Congratulations on many years of success so far in the Trench Trophy, and we're going to keep it rolling. And this is what we do. In the meantime, we're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, we're going to talk a lot more about the Trench Trophy and our nominees for 2021.
Hi, this is Jim McNally. I want to congratulate all you Trench Trophy finalists on a great spring football. You guys did a terrific job fighting through COVID. going through all the issues of having to get on the internet, watch your coach you when you couldn't be in person, hitting each other. You could only be face to face on certain practice days and game days. And I thought it was a great spring, and congratulations.
It's a blessing that here in Buffalo we have a group of guys in an organization that really focus on the linemen and honor those kids in the way that they deserve to be honored. We've had a lot of success here, and honestly the kids get excited about those nominations. When you see your name in the paper, you get nominated for the Trench Trophy, it really validates you as a lineman and as a player, and it shows that you're getting that attention and recognition. And then if you're lucky enough to go to the banquet and win the thing and be inducted into the Hall of Fame, I mean, that's something that you can be proud of forever. And we've had some guys that have done that, and it's still something that they mention and talk about when I talk to those guys and catch up with them, and we talk about the banquet and the night and just the honor and winning it and being part of a fraternity and being part of something special. The committee itself, the guys that put on the award and do it, Carl Curris and all those guys, I mean, it's unbelievable, right? They don't make any money. They don't do that for anything other than the love of the game and the love of these players and trying to recognize these guys, the way they deserve. So, I mean, the hours, the hundreds and hundreds of hours that go in, to the scouting, to going to games, to watching game film, I know a lot of those guys, they take it very seriously. It's to be on that committee is something they take really serious. So the work that those guys put in, the effort that they put in, really commendable. Again, doing it for a special group of kids that really deserve the recognition that they get.
Welcome back to the 2021 Trench Trophy presentation. I'm Sal Capaccio. Before we get to our nominees this year, a salute to our very good friend, Dick Gallagher, as we salute all of our sectional championships from the 2021 spring football season. Dick is no longer with us, but he's always going to remain with us in our hearts, in our minds, and of course at the Trench Trophy every single year. Let's start with the Monsignor Martin winner. The Monsignor Martin Association winner was Canisius. They beat St. Francis. A great job by St. Francis to get to the Monsignor Martin Championship, but Canisius with the big win, 33-14. Let's move on to AA, where Lancaster continues to have an outstanding run here, 28-21 over their arch rivals of Orchard Park. To Class A, South Park, Tim Delaney's squad doing it again, 30-29, a great football game, not only beating Jamestown, but doing it in their own backyard down in Jamestown. Down in Class B, Maritime Health Sciences in double overtime. How about that classic over Iroquois, 26-20. That game played at the old rock pile, Johnny B. Wiley Stadium. Class C, it was Medina over Southwestern, 21-13. Of course, Medina winning is a big story, but a really big part of their win, their first sectional championship since 1988. Congratulations to the Mustangs. And rounding it out from Class D, Franklinville-Ellicottville, 21-7 victors, but Franklinville-Ellicottville takes home the Class D championship. Those are our sectional champions from the spring 2021 football season. Once again, salute to them and a big salute to our good friend Dick Gallagher.
Lineman's creed. Halfbacks dance and halfbacks flirt while linemen crawl and eat the dirt. When game time comes, backs run the ball. When glory comes, they get it all. But if 100 yards they do gain, it's through the linemen, sweat and pain. While halfbacks cry when they see blood, linemen hide it under mud. Some backs have moves and others speed, but heart is all a lineman needs. Backs are good, some are divine, but they be nothing without their line. A halfback loves and then he weds, but linemen only love their sleds. The fan all see the halfbacks run, but few see what the line has done. And that's why those who know agree there's half a game that fans don't see.
Welcome back to the 2021 Trench Trophy presentation. I'm your host, Sal Capaccio. Let's get into our incredible nominees. We have the Monsignor Martin and AA nominees to get to first. So let's start it off with those names here on the program. From Frontier High School, Ryan Bednars. From Canisius, a pair of players, Malachi Charleston and Andrew Kerwin. From Lancaster, Ethan Kowalski. From Orchard Park, a pair of outstanding linemen, Matthew Baska and Eric Dietz. From Clarence, Jack Perlman. From St. Francis, Malik Thompson. A couple of more players from Lancaster, Josh Jelinek and Logan Prescott. And more from Orchard Park. Drew Forster. From St. Francis, Zachary Jaworski. From St. Joe's, Paul Swenkicki. And from Cardinal O'Hara, David Motton. Congratulations to our nominees from the Monsignor Martin Association as well as AA. And a couple of gentlemen are going to join me who know all about the Monsignor Martin Association and AA. They've been scouting them. And oh, by the way, we have a guy here, Don Sullivan, who played at a Monsignor Martin school a long time ago. But you know what? Knows all about the history of the school, the history of the program, the history of the Monsignor Martin Association, and of course, Sibby Constantino, who's been involved with the Trench Trophy for many, many years. Guys, thanks a lot for coming on today.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about, first of all, the challenges that went into the schedules this year for these particular classifications. And let's start with Monsignor Martin.
Yes, Al. The big thing here is they don't get to play a lot of teams from Section 6. So they're playing in Pennsylvania, Ohio. Well, they couldn't play that this year, so they ended up playing each other twice. And they were playing some of the smaller schools. But example right off the start, St. Francis is supposed to play Canisius opening game. All of a sudden they go down with COVID problems. So St. Joe's, who wasn't expected to play, jumps in and plays Canisius that first game.
Let's talk about AA a little bit here, Don, because they had their own challenges, obviously, the same way that others had to navigate through.
One of the problems that I've seen with the AA division is that they only played 5 games. And of the 5 games they played, they didn't get to play everybody. So the championship game this year was Orchard Park and Lancaster in the end. And they never played Orchard Park because of the way the schedule was set with only 5 games. So they weren't on the schedule to play. And before that, they come up, and Bennett was having a real good year. They were supposed to play in a semifinal game, and they canceled the game because Bennett went down with COVID. And Bennett had a great chance. That would have been a great game to see Bennett play Lancaster again because they both had terrific teams. But because of COVID, it just didn't work. And they had a lot of games that came down to that they were changing the schedule. The people that were scheduling the games just had to throw the teams in to keep the teams playing.
And Sibby, I think that just speaks to how well these kids did to navigate through. I mean, we're talking about teenagers here who had to go through these challenges and still come out with their best performances.
You know, I did talk to some of them, and I talked to Ethan Kowalski, and I asked Ethan that. I said, Ethan, you played on Lancaster 2 years. You were the sectional champs. Now this year, you don't know if you're playing, and then all of a sudden you are. And he comments to me, he goes, you know, we took a negative and to make it a positive, and that's what our philosophy was, to go out, have fun, and give it our best, and they were successful this year.
You love hearing kids say that. Tell us a little bit, Don, about what you saw out there from Monsignor Martin and AA this year.
I thought this year they did a great job for the way the season was set up. I thought in the end, when we first had the first meeting of the year, I didn't even think we were going to have a season. I thought they were just going to cancel the season, and then I thought they did an excellent job of setting it up.
Sibby, I look at this list, and you know what? We have 6 from Monsignor Martin, 8 from AA. What strikes me is, and obviously we know that some schools didn't have as many games to look at, but multiple players on certain teams. And I think that really shows, you know, how well some of these linemen have been really kind of developed by these schools.
Yeah, you know what? I would say both of these divisions have great programs.
Yep.
It's not where a kid's coming up and you're going to do it. Link is, you get a lot of sophomores on there, and I'm going, how can you get a lot of sophomores? And he says, well, they play 7th grade modified, 8th grade freshman, 9th grade JVs. Well, 10th grade, they're on the varsity. I mean, when I went to school, we couldn't even play unless you were real good on the varsity. But these programs, and the key is here is there's more athletes.
Right.
Where in the lower divisions, your good athletes are going both ways all the time.
79 total nominees, 14 of them coming from Monsignor Martin and AA combined. Thank you very much to Don Sullivan. Thank you very much to Sibby Constantino. In the meantime, we have a special message from one of our past winners who went on to do great things in the National Football League. And yeah, I will kind of forget about the fact that the team he was on actually beat the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game last year, but he's moving on to the LA Chargers. From Canisius, we're going to hear from Ryan Hunter.
Hey guys, Ryan Hunter here. Trench Trophy winner 2012, Canisius High School grad 2013, and current member of the Los Angeles Chargers. I want to take a couple of minutes to just talk about the Trench Trophy and what it means to me. As you guys know, the big boys up front don't get a lot of love in the media because it's hard to keep statistics for us. So to have a trophy like the Trench Trophy be solely dedicated to the big boys up front and doing all the hard work, I think means a lot. The Trench Trophy was instrumental in allowing me to begin my recruitment process to play Division I college football at Bowling Green. I think the trophy has a lot of weight to it, and it can prove to a lot of coaches in a lot of different areas and conferences that players in Western New York have the abilities and the skills to play with all the guys in the different states down south that they think are better. The Trench Trophy was really the first big trophy that I won when I was in Buffalo, and so it really helped kind of catapult me to a recruitment level where I didn't think I was able to get to. So I just want to thank the Trench Trophy committee, everyone involved in the voting, and I want to congratulate all the finalists on getting here. It's an incredible achievement and a great honor, and I want to wish you guys best of luck moving forward.
Welcome back to the 2021 Trench Trophy presentation. I'm your host, Sal Capaccio. A great message there from former Kansas City Chief and now LA Charger, Ryan Hunter, a former Trench Trophy winner. It's time to talk about the A and B nominees for the 2021 Trench Trophy. Here are your names. Danny Cannon of Williamsville East, Marquand Fluitt of South Park, Owen Irby of Maryvale, Isaiah Jean-Pierre of Western New York Maritime, Kyle Johnson of Starpoint, Talon Lake of Pioneer, Matt Russo of Depew, Lucas Tahara of Grand Island, John Bennett of Hamburg, Nick Conrad of West Seneca West, Gabe Keel from South Park, Anthony Lusinski of Niagara Wheatfield, Cameron Melendez of Jamestown, Kevin Murphy from Sweet Home, Trevion Slaughter of Cheektowaga, Cameron Bell of Albion, Dominic Gramza of Grand Island, Aiden Ostrowski, Williamsville South, Jared Rebon, Lewiston Porter, Logan Schwartz, Depew, Darnell Gray, Western New York Maritime, Deontay Henry, Burgard, Dylan James of Cheektowaga, Ashlar Kearns of Lockport, Chris Kinney from North Tonawanda, Tyree Orange from Amherst, Mike Witt of West Seneca West, AJ Adada from Olean, Ethan Bannister from Starpoint, Damone Cole, South Park, James Griffo from Sweet Home, Josh Justice of Kenmore West, Evan Kingston of Iroquois, Caden Larrabee, also of Iroquois, Michael Sowalak of Hamburg, and Joe Seifert from Grand Island. 35 total nominees for the A and B groups. And these gentlemen saw most of them play from either A or B. They're volunteering their time to go out there and watch all these young men. There's so many tremendous nominees, 79 of them total for the 2021 Trench Trophy. I bring in Rick Coburn, George Battison, Dave Hyduk, and Jim Fleischman. Gentlemen, thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it. So, Rick Coburn, let's start with you. Just the competition that really came out this year from the A and the B, and especially the A division that you got to witness from some of these young men was pretty incredible.
Yeah, Sal, the A conference is always great year to year, and they continually have the opportunity to go up against really great competition. So it gives us a good insight right off the bat of how good they've actually prepared themselves, how well they're doing through their techniques. And so we have an opportunity to see a great game week after week after week, and we can pick and choose, and then we have an opportunity at the end of the year to kind of assess all of them and bring them back together when normally we'd have to go through a selective process. This year we've kind of just recognizing all the guys for their efforts.
Yeah, 21 players from the A division this year.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a lot from it's a very truncated schedule, as we know. What about the challenges you guys had with that?
Well, a simple fact is we had scheduled for a game. You're contacting the ADs prior to going to the game, and all of a sudden the game gets canceled.
Yep.
We don't have the opportunity to actually get onto another field and switch areas within the town. So unfortunately, we try to catch a film later and try to assess them from that angle. Normally, sometimes we'd have an opportunity to go see a game, see it for the half, see the kid, we have a good assessment, okay, we either future consideration or we think it could be a nominee, and we can fly across town and jump onto another game. So the two of us, my colleague Carl Ertl, myself, visit them all. We're kind of the A chairman, and by the end of the year, usually we have about 15 guys. After about the 4th or 5th week, we're whittling it down to 5 to 8. Usually we see it all maybe 5 to 8, 3 to 4 times by the end of the season to get to maybe a 1 or 2 selection to try to make our top 10 normally.
Before we get to Dave and Jim and talk about the B, I know that George Batterson, you saw a lot of these kids in the A, and really what struck me and what I love to talk about when we talk about things like this is we always talk about running back technique, and there's so many quarterbacks camps around the country. You really concentrated on the offensive lineman technique, and these are the kind of guys that don't get the credit for the technique they put into their craft.
Right, exactly. So yes. So as we watch these kids, and a lot of these kids are phenomenal, you know. And the one thing I think we'd all agree to is the game of football, the way they display it. These are like the model students of the game of football. Mm-hmm. Like other students and adults even could look at these kids, learn how to play the game, and the game builds character and it builds teamwork. Yep. And so it's commendable, you know, that they're on the Trench Trophy, that they're nominees to the Trench Trophy. And what I'm looking for, what we're looking for is what is the technique of these offensive and defensive players, you know? What's their stance like? Is it strong in their three-point stance? How fast do they fire out? When this ball is snapped by the center, are they going to fire out fast and low and hard, get underneath the shoulders, forearm the guy, you know?
Tell us a little bit about some of the highlights you saw from some of these kids and their techniques.
Well, you want me to talk about
a couple of kids you saw?
There's a lot of them, and I didn't watch everybody, but I'll give you an example. Josh Justice at Kenmore West. I watched him play twice, and he is a guard on offensive left guard. Josh is 205 pounds, 5'11", and he's an offensive guard, and that's not that big.
No, right.
Now, a lot of these kids are a lot bigger than him, but this kid has really got great technique. You know, he fires out fast. He's got a heart, too. You know, he wants to play, and he kind of exhibits the desire to go out there and make some blocks. I actually watched him probably 90% of time in the East-West game, and I did not see him miss a block, which is incredible. I didn't see him miss a block.
No doubt about it. And he's one of the smaller ones, but you have bigger ones, too, that you watch. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
And I want to turn it over, if I can, here. We have Dave Hyduk and Jim Fleischman, and ask them, you guys have been watching high school football for a long time. You play high school football. That change for linemen that's come about. You know, it used to be, if you're the big kid, you play offensive line, right? I mean, that doesn't happen anymore, Dave. Like, you have some smaller kids as well, but you got to know what you're doing out there, and there is really a craft to it and a technique to it.
Yeah, and I remember when I got into this scouting business about 15 years ago, and I was doing other things, and I left the profession, and I kind of watched the game as just a regular fan. And when I came back 15 years ago and I scouted my first game, I came back to Carl and I said, who changed this game? It was completely different. I had to restudy. I looked at tapes. I went to practices, and I had to redo everything. It's just finesse now. It's almost more like a judo than it is the old blocking in our days. And it is a whole lot more technique to it. And if you don't do that technique, you're not going to make it.
You watched a lot of the B, and I'll tell you, when I played a long time ago, I was in C, but I know that B was always an incredibly competitive division. And I think even more so the last like 10, 15 years, I think you're getting some great teams that can't ultimately win because of all the competition out of that conference.
Right. And the other thing is, as a player, in the larger schools, they're playing one way now, for the most part. So they can concentrate on that skill level we were talking about. But when you get down to the Bs and a little bit in the As and certainly in the Cs, they play both ways. So they have to double the amount of work they have to do. And plus they got to play harder. So I always have a special respect for the smaller teams that go both ways, because they really have to put in a little more work.
I want to ask you about the challenges of the season, but Jimmy, I know you saw some special kids this year. We talked about, when I had a couple other guys in the panel earlier, how, it's not just about playing football. Sure, this is a football award, but these are special kids who do special things off the field as well.
They certainly do, and, what Dave was talking about, the offense has changed. I've been coaching for 57 years, and the spread offense really has changed offensive line play tremendously. Best kid I saw in the B was a kid from Pioneer who usually puts out outstanding linemen from that school district. Tough as nails, this kid. He's already enlisted in the Army.
Wow.
He's going to start his basic training the day after graduation. And the U.S. military is going to get one good soldier.
That's amazing. That's great.
Yep.
That's great. What can you tell us the kid's name? That's okay. We can do that.
Talon Lake is the
Thank you.
young man's name.
Let's recognize him, because that's awesome.
Yes.
And he's going to go and he's going to defend this country, and he's going to go on to a higher calling than even playing football, which is obviously in itself, to be a teammate, the ultimate teammate for an award like this. Jimmy, you talked about, you said Pioneer traditionally has good linemen. That stuck to me, because you do find programs in Western New York that do produce traditionally lots of kids on these lists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in fact, Pioneer's kind of a funny situation, as they finished the season undefeated and never got to the playoffs because of COVID.
Right.
They were scheduled to play Iroquois, 2 undefeated teams going in, and the season was done.
Really appreciate all of your hard work, really, and you had an amazing challenge on your hands, like these kids did, playing like the coaches and the programs, but you got a great list here. We have 35 A+B nominees we just talked about a little while ago. Rick Colburn, George Batterson, Dave Hyduk, and Jim Fleischman. Thank you very much. In the meantime, we are going to hear right now from some college coaches, because guess what? College coaches pay attention to this list. They want to know who's on the Trench Trophy list. They want to find out who are maybe the next kids they want to bring into their program. And one of the local colleges, I guess, if you will, Brockport State. Let's hear from their coaches right now.
Trench Trophy is huge for us because, for one, it highlights the guys that sort of go unnoticed. So it's always great to see guys get the recognition they deserve. And it's a prestigious award because you're looking at maybe the top 10, 15, 20, 30 guys in an area. And so it's always helpful when we see the nominations every week that we pay attention to, because we want to go after those guys and obviously get them in our program. So again, take a lot of pride in Section 6 as a former Section 6 athlete from Lancaster. I recruit the area, so the first thing that I look for every week is the Trench Trophy nominations. Who are the best of the best? I believe there's 10 on the list, and that's where I start. Here at Brockport, we want the best of the best that want to play alongside the best. So this is where we start, and ultimately for us, everything that we do in our football team starts in our O-line and our D-line.
And it is a great honor to have your name associated as a finalist, as a weekly award winner. It is great pride as an offensive lineman to have your name associated with the Trench Trophy Award. Because it says a lot about yourself, the hard work, the dedication that it takes to even be honored by that. And we put a high value on that list of award winners, nominees in our recruiting process, because we know what goes through that process of being nominated, being recognized, and we know it's the real deal.
Welcome back to the 2021 Trench Trophy presentation. I'm your host, Sal Capaccio. We've heard from some amazing people that make the Trench Trophy possible. We've also heard from some winners of the past. We've heard some from college coaches. So obviously this is a really big award. It's a really big deal. It's something that a lot of people pour their heart and soul into to make sure we recognize some of the best linemen throughout all of high school football in Western New York. So let's get to the C and D division and our nominees. Drew Wygren from Southwestern. Zach Wolcott of Chautauqua Lake. Owen Grotto from CSP. David Kalinowski of Akron. RJ Wolcott of Tonawanda. Jared Zenner of Portville. Mitchell Dugan, Akron. Alex Millspaw, Eden North Collins. Javion Morales from Lackawanna. Robert Morehouse from Medina. Gerard White from Salamanca. Josh LaCourse from Cleveland Hill. Benjamin Mahar of Wilson. Gabe Metzger, Silver Creek, Forestville. Eric Wagner from JFK. Marcel Whitman from Tonawanda. Michael Karmer from Newfane. Nathan Carrick from JFK. Matthew Hay from Alden. Cyric Kristen from Chautauqua Lake. Calvin Ricker from Southwestern. Aiden Schoenfelder from Cleveland Hill. Caleb Stromberg from Portville. Anthony Dispenza of Wilson. Levi Ganoon from Portville. Grayson Maloney of Maple Grove. Mitchell Silversmith from Medina. Carter Stoltz from Salamanca. And Brett Kroniski from Franklinville, Ellicottville. Those are your nominees from the C and D divisions. And we're going to bring in a couple of gentlemen now who know all about those two divisions. We've already heard and seen Sibby Constantino, so thank you very much. And John Owens joins us for the first time today to talk about these two divisions. Guys, some really great players here, some great competition in these two particular divisions. And John, I mean, we've talked a lot about kind of the challenges that the teams have gone through, and we'll touch on that a little bit more, but for you, for the scouts, going to the game, tell our viewers what it's like, the process, and especially this particular season when you don't have necessarily the same kind of access we've had in the past.
First of all those players, every one of those players that was nominated are terrific athletes. They've all been putting a lot into their game during the season, after preseason, around the clock, and they're all to be commended. But yeah, it's been a different year because of the compressed schedule, of course, moving everything into the spring. What do you do as far as trying to catch every player, catch every team, and find those nuggets? So it's something that we've had to work a little bit harder on, I think, this year, and to try to find it. But it's enjoyable. It's great to find them, and it's great to talk to the coaches and see them light up once they have a player that's, that's dedicated enough to be considered a nominee for the Trench Trophy. First thing I do is contact all the coaches and talk to them about the Trench Trophy, what it's all about, what we're looking for as far as seniors and outstanding linemen. Get a feel for that, and give them an idea that we're going to be coming to the game. We're going to be watching. We're going to try to see what players exemplify what the Trench Trophy is all about, and try to get as much information in advance as possible. And then shifting forward to the games themselves, spend some time with the coaches if possible. They got a lot on their plate before the game starts, but try to get some information from them. Is it still the same? Are there still players that they think are going to be in that position and in that capability? It moves from there, I think, to watching during the game and using all your resources during the game. Not only the information you got from the coaches, but also from the officials, also from the chain crew and the statisticians and other people that are there watching the football game. So that it gives us a lot of information that way.
If I may, I'll tell you, this is a great time for me to give a plea to all of the coaches watching out there. Get back to these gentlemen when they contact you about the Trench Trophy, if they want to know about your kid, because this is the exposure. You're going to be on a show like this. The kid is going to be highlighted. It just makes everyone's job a lot easier when we have great communication. And Sibby, you can speak to that. Let's talk about communication from you to school and from scout to scout. for this particular award?
We actually meet on Sundays, if whoever can meet during football season at 10 o'clock if the Bills are playing at home. We put in who we think should be for that week. We talk about it, and then we're doing our schedule for the following week. We look at the films. It's getting easier. I mean, before to try to get films. I have an advantage as well as John. I think we officiated a lot of the football.
The officials.
So you know the officials.
That helps too.
And I know the coaches. I was on the phone with coaches. What about your underclassmen? I keep notes on that. We put that together with fellow officials. So we're actually not just doing seniors, we're also doing underclassmen. We're putting them in that category.
And I can tell you this, and I know you're on the sideline of the Bills game, it is such an advantage to be on the sidelines there and see what's going on.
Yes.
See what's going on with the players, see what's going on with the coaches, the relationship between them. What's that player do when his team is down? How's he pump them back up? You know, is he a team leader, or is he go and throw his helmet somewhere? You know, I think it's a tremendous asset to be there and talk to the other people that are also watching them.
All right, let's talk about C&D real quick, because I have a question for you, John. Because we're doing these lower levels, a lot of times, as Sibby pointed out, there's less numbers. They'll go both ways more often than you will at the... Do you factor that into Trench Trophy? If a player plays offensive line and defensive line, does that help his cause, so to speak?
I do, and I've talked to coaches about that too. And you know, they say, you know, is he going to have a chance at the Trench Trophy? And I say, you know, we'd really like to see him go both ways.
Right, there you
see
go.
if they go both ways. And there's some real good athletes out there that can do that. There are some teams that they're so well-rounded all around that there's no one player that really stands out head and shoulders above the other. CSP is that way this year, and but they're you know, every one of those opportunities for the players, I think, is helpful.
Lots of challenges for everybody all around. So, guys, thank you for all of your hard work this year. And you know, we got a lot of great nominees, 29 from the C&D division to go into our 79 total for the 2021 Trench Trophy. We've already heard from one former Trench Trophy winner, Ryan Hunter, who won a Super Bowl championship with the Kansas City Chiefs. But how about a guy that, you know what, he's probably the greatest mathematician that ever came through the Trench Trophy, right? But he went on to play professional football, and that is John Urschel, Canisius High School, Penn State, played for the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to hear from him, and we heard from Brockport State and their staff. What about Buff State? Yep, that's right, Buffalo State College. They know what's going on with the Trench Trophy. They're going to let you know about it as well.
I won the Trench Trophy in 2008, my senior year playing for Canisius High School. And I remember at that banquet winning that trophy. That was the first big award I had ever won in my life. And I remember all the kind things that all the members of the committee said to me about my style of football, about sort of what they thought I was capable of. And that was the first time that I really realized that, you know, I could be a good lineman. I could really do something. And I can say that was the first moment that I remember thinking, I can do this. I can sort of live out my dream, which at the time, my dream was to be an offensive lineman in the Big Ten. And winning that trophy gave me the confidence I needed to hit the ground running when I got to Penn State and to be a successful football player. So to everyone over at the Trench Trophy, I want to say thank you and keep doing what you're doing. You're helping grow the next generation of Western New York linemen.
Being originally from Buffalo, New York, I've had a lot of experience with the number of kids that have come through, nominees and award winners. Here at Buffalo State, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of nominees: Alex Westcott, Kyle Schrader, David Lauer, Brandon Lathrop, four that come to my mind are all nominees. All of them have all been all-conference players for us. And as we always do, we want to try to make sure we're recruiting our backyard and keeping the Western New York best Western New York kids here in Western New York. Well, I do want to say thank you for the Coach Curris, who has kind of founded this Trench Trophy, and it's been at the Elks Lodge. I know very, very well with a former friend of my father's and everything else. Coach Ertl from Depew has done a great job. I've seen him a number of times. Coach Constantino, I see him out there all the time as well when we're at the games. Probably a number of you that I am not paying tribute to, but I do thank all those coaches and volunteers that go out there on Fridays and Saturdays and spend your time watching and really paying close detail to the guys up in the front rows.
Hello, my name is Bob Rankel. I'm the head football coach here at Alfred University. I want to take an opportunity to genuinely thank the members of the Trench Trophy Committee for their efforts. They do an outstanding job of recognizing the top offensive and defensive linemen throughout Section 6. And I can tell you as a college coach that really helps us and our efforts in recruiting those top linemen. Over the years, we've had a lot of players that have been recognized by the Trench Trophy Committee that have had a huge impact on our football program. Guys like Sean Murphy and Wes Sen and Pat Hannon, just to name a few, and we definitely look forward to continuing to build those pipelines. So again, thank you. Thank you to the Trench Trophy Committee. Please continue to do the job that you're doing. It's much appreciated by me and the entire Alfred University football program.
Welcome back to the 2021 Trench Trophy presentation. I'm your host, Sal Capaccio. We've already heard all about the 79 nominees to be awarded as the best high school lineman, defensive, offensive lineman, doesn't matter. Throughout Western New York, they all deserve our recognition for a tremendous season. All the challenges that they had to face with their programs individually, their coaches, their parents, and everyone. So we congratulate all of you. And I know I speak for Carl Curris and Ed Sierra, who joined me to say, this has been a challenging year for all of us, Coach. Everybody out there, just maybe a few words on the parents, the coaches, the programs, and the players, and all the challenges they had to navigate through.
There are so many challenges. This is so unique to us to begin with, and we had to formulate ourselves and decide what was the best way to approach it. And Ed and I spoke early in the season. We didn't want to forget these seniors this year. We wanted to make sure that I know they played 4 games, 5 games, some 6 games, but we wanted to give them recognition because, we believe that those kids that are playing in the line that hardly gets any recognition had at least something. And so Ed and I spoke, we got the group together, and we came up with what we had. We saw every school. We were able to at least scout every school once, so we're inclusive in that sense. Of course, there are some kids out there that we may have not saw due to injury or whatever. But on the other hand, we feel that we succeeded in terms of keep maintaining our program, maintaining our trademark, and trying to continue the inspiration of these kids in Western New York that are fully deserving.
Ed, every year when we're doing this at a banquet style, one of the things we say at the end, it might even be you who says it to everyone, is if you're a younger player who thinks you're going to be here and it's automatic because you've played so well, that's not the case. It takes a lot to get to this point.
It really does, and especially this year. I know a little bit more. I have a son that played modified football, so we really didn't know up until a couple weeks before if there even was going to be a season, and then it came on so quick. And I give these seniors a lot of credit because they tried to stuff a lot in a short period of time. And we, as a committee, we didn't know what to expect as well either. I mean, we took it, we said we're going to start, we'll do our program and see where it goes. And we're very fortunate that we got in what we did, and our committee stepped up.
That's right. Coach, what's next for the Trench Trophy then? Are we going to hopefully have a fall football season and get back to normal and what we're going to do? And I know I want to give you a few minutes to thank a lot of people who made this year's possible and every year.
What's going to happen next year, I feel that we can go status quo like we've been doing.
Yep.
We can get a great speaker up there, and we can continue to pick our best 10 or 12, present them with their awards, and have a good time at a classy banquet and a recognition banquet. And we always felt that everybody that gets one of these is a winner. Yes, we'll have a final person. There's a scholarship involved in that and so forth. But on the other hand, we look at this as our Hall of Fame. You make the banquet, you are in our Hall of Fame. And it's been so successful. We actually have a tangible Hall of Fame down at the Elks.
Yep. I'm not we talked about the loss of our good friend Dick Gallagher earlier. A couple of us also talked about the communication piece. Now, Dick was so rooted in high school football, guys, that he could kind of just rattle off everybody. He knew these kids from when they were in 8th grade or 9th grade coming up, but also Milt Dickerson. He's taught as well, and a big part of the Kensington Lions Club and the game that's always put on every single year. So if you both just say a couple more words about these guys and how great they were.
Well, Dick was, you talk about Milt, he was at every one of our banquets right from the start, and they always bought a table. They supported us. Dick always had an ad in our program, and he was always there. In fact, the last couple of years, always at the head table. Mm-hmm. And last couple of years, he says, no, this is for the kids,
He never wanted to be in the limelight.
Right.
That's right.
That's one thing about him. He was really humble.
Well, I would say this, and Ed, I think you'd agree, to honor these gentlemen's legacies, let's just keep doing what we're doing and do it better, right? And keep going on.
Right.
Because they would keep this thing going. They were the engines that drove these kinds of awards and
You're
things.
right.
Yep.
All right, so guys, let's Coach, why don't you run through maybe some people that you want to recognize here before we head on out of here?
Yeah, there's so many. I'm going to miss some, and hopefully we're going to pick up on a lot of the other ones. Of course, all the scouts, they're tremendous. I know myself, every weekend we did a newsletter, and then on Monday was a schedule where people would sign up for it, and then Tuesdays was another schedule, and all of a sudden on Wednesdays there's another schedule. People would sign up for games, and Ken Stolt and Adam Stoltman and Peter Snyderman from the Monsignor Martin, the schedule's changing. I know how hard, being a past athletic administrator, I realize, a game's rained out, you reschedule it, and Coach Jankiewicz knows that, and these guys did a fantastic job. Your section and Monsignor Martin chairman. Again, Kensington Lions Club, we miss Milt, but Chuck Huber and Len Thornton do a great job. Lancaster Elks, we have an office down there, and they're our home base. Football Weekly and Mark Adair. Cross training with Mike Masters. All these people are contributors. The Conley Cup, Dennis Arnold does a wonderful job there. Antoinette's ice cream store, Peter just passed away, Peter Morphus, the owner, and he was always there at the banquet and helping us out. Inside High School Sports with Tony Calgeri and Roger Weiss, the Buffalo News, my gal, all the coaches, athletic directors, school boards, director of athletics, superintendents, always helped us out. Western New York Athletics, they're a big part of us this year because we were able to get some information from them that was really, really quality information. The Western New York football officials always contribute. We get officials that are on our committee. And Jack Canizero, who's a ex-All-American guard from Union College, a national championship team. He's every single year he pays for a big portion of the thing. But there's so many more. There's so many more. Ed, you.
I just wanted to say, one guy that's been an inspiration to mostly really Carl and that, and I think is Coach Foyle. Coach Foyle, he came and spoke at our banquet in years past, and he's just we'd be remiss without thanking Coach Foyle.
And Ed, Coach Curris, thank you very much. I can't call him Carl. I'm sorry. He coached me. I just can't do that, all right? So all of you coaches, thank you very much. Thank everybody for everything that went into the 2021 Trench Trophy presentation and season this year. Welcome back to the 2021 Trench Trophy presentation. I'm Sal Capaccio. Well, that's it for this year's award nominees. 79 tremendous selfless athletes, the best offensive linemen and defensive linemen in high school football throughout all of Western New York. It was a challenging season. It was a unique season. We played high school football in the spring. We weren't able to get all of our games in, but that says even more about all of our athletes, our parents, our coaches, our programs, and of course, everybody who made the Trench Trophy possible. Many of them joined me right here during this presentation today that you've been watching, and we appreciate all of their hard work and efforts. You can get involved in the Trench Trophy. Maybe you're somebody watching who wants to win the Trench Trophy. Maybe you have a son or daughter that wants to win the Trench Trophy someday. Maybe you just want to find out more about it and help high school football. You can do all of that by going to trenchtrophy.com. Here's to a great 2021 season and looking forward to another 21 season, but this time in the fall.